Hi, I'm Christine and I will be talking about crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing, by definition, is the process of obtaining needed services, ideas, and content by soliciting contributions from a large group of people, and especially from within an online community. Success of crowdsourcing comes from crowd capacity, with the independency of its workers being the fundamental difference from traditional employment. So, what kind of influence does crowdsourcing have on the field of technology? It's extremely relevant in artificial intelligence because the use of crowdsourcing allows for quick and cheap collection of labeled data. It's the idea of using crowdsourced data to further artificial intelligence systems that is pushing the field towards more recognition and popularity and allowing for greater potential and advancement in the future.
Hi, my name is Arielle Pamulaklakin, and I'll go more into the overview of crowdsourced labeling. So, the famous system reCAPTCHA was created by Louis Van An, and it uses two different optical character recognition systems, or OCR systems, to scan the same document. And essentially, this system allows for users to scan different images, and if the images match up to what it is asking for, then the user can have access to the site. And the success of reCAPTCHA shows how internet users can solve problems that machine intelligence or bots cannot. And although crowdsourced systems were not developed during this time, the idea forms the basis of taking advantage of crowdsourcing. And so next I'll go into the challenges of crowdsourcing, and some of the challenges are that bias labeling is a widespread phenomenon, and statistical characteristics are very clear, which makes modeling different and difficult since each labeler is different. And then just overall quality control is difficult because of privacy protection. In conclusion, a large number of intelligence systems and learning modules are continuously optimized as more data is accumulated, and the uncertainty of labelers derived from this open nature of crowdsourced systems is a severe challenge to the quality of the data that's collected from these learning modules.
So algorithms are computer-implemented instructions with unambiguous specifications for performing calculations, data processing, automated reasoning, and other tasks. And because the transition state from one to another is not necessarily deterministic, some of these algorithms are considered randomized algorithms that incorporate random data and other variables to determine their final output. And because there is no definitive path, there is a tendency for some of these algorithms to have systematic errors known as algorithmic bias that basically create unfair outcomes, such as privileging one arbitrary group of users over the other. So in this software application, there was some racial bias that was encoded that basically determined who was more likely to benefit from specific healthcare management ads. But because there is structural inequalities within our healthcare system, those who are able to receive care and those more prone to sickness are typically racial minorities.
In the second article, the study found that a healthcare prediction algorithm was biased against Black patients. This is not the first time, nor the only industry, that algorithms have been shown to be biased or discriminatory against certain groups. In the book Algorithms of Oppression, author Sophia Noble challenges the idea that search engines such as Google show data discrimination. For example, if we look at why are Black women the results will auto-show and show with sassy, angry, loud, etc. And this presents a disturbing representation of Black womanhood in modern society. The healthcare and search engine algorithms are not connected, but both show to be biased, and this serves to show that both the creators and the society that we live in is biased, and that's a problem that we need to work on. People trust algorithms to be factually true, but how can they be if they really reflect our prejudices?
In article number 2, they talked about the idea of racial bias within technology. I'm here to explain that, well, racial bias does not really exist in technology, as technology and code and whatnot is a bunch of zeros and ones. Coming from a computer science perspective, there is no such thing as really a racist algorithm, but it's one of our biggest concerns just because, like, the fact that people can't really discern what is necessarily racist versus what they are willing to take offense to. Since, bottom line, there are trends that and facts that are not really, they don't really appeal to what we'd like to believe, but at the same time, they are true nonetheless. And yeah, racism in terms of AI doesn't really exist in the sense that like you can't really have a robot distinguish or really judge or prove its intention essentially, because it is essentially just zeros and ones again. It's rather AI is just a bunch of zeros and ones. It's either true or it's not. There's no really gray area, and that's what really humans discern and have a really big problem with these days.